What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Jacob Lee Taylor here for you once again. Today we're going to be talking about the mighty Slipknot, the history of the band, what they brought to the table and why they are still relevant to modern metal music. For anybody not in the know, Slipknot were formed in Des Moines, Iowa in 1995 by Sean Crahan, Joey Jordison, rest in peace, and Paul Gray, rest in peace. The band underwent several lineup changes before finalising on a lineup of 9. This included Corey Taylor on vocals, Mick Thompson and Jim Root on guitar, Paul Gray on bass, Joey Jordison on drums, Chris Fiend and Sean Crahan playing percussion, Sid Wilson as a DJ, and Craig Jones on keyboards and samples. At first the band became as notorious for their stage presence and their gimmick as their music. You know, there were 9 of them, they wore jumpsuits, they wore masks. That sort of thing really pulls attention in. I can remember a lot of my normie friends talking about them, coming out with these crazy rumours about them drinking blood and sacrificing animals and worshipping Satan and throwing feces at each other. I've no idea where these sort of rumours came from, but just the fact that my normie friends were talking about this despite actively disliking Slipknot's music just shows you what a great marketing tool this is. But the guys really used this to their advantage. Craig Jones, the sample player, is a fiercely private person, and he has a mask with a zipper across the mouth, and whenever anyone asks him a question in an interview, he just simply closes the zip. The band got lumped in with the nu metal scene when they first came out. This happens quite a lot in rock and metal music. 2 other examples I can think of are Alice in Chains and the Smashing Pumpkins getting lumped in respectively with the grunge and alternative rock scene, despite their music being a completely different beast to all of their peers that they were lumped in with. The same thing happened with Slipknot and the nu metal scene. Yes, some of their early music, particularly the song Spit It Out that has a little rap section and DJ scratches, have nu metal flavour, but a lot of their music is more rooted in extreme metal. Members of the band before they were in Slipknot were in technical death and grindcore bands such as Body Pit and Anal Blast. Go and listen to these bands, you will see that these guys really do have metal credentials. They are not just nu metal kids wearing jumpsuits and masks. As I said, the first album was slightly nu metal tinged, but the second album, Iowa, which was released in 2001, started moving away a little bit from that sound. A song on that album called The Heretic Anthem, which has a little double bass fill. If you pull this up as sheet music, yes, it probably won't be perfectly in time, but that just shows me that a drummer has played this, not a drum machine. Jordison also popularised the blast beats that he played over his double bass fills. It really sounds like he's having a fight with his drum kit. Certainly no way that Joey invented this. My first experience with double bass, as it probably is with a lot of people my age, was the Metallica video for One. What I've said about Metallica before, but if you listen to Injustice for All with the bass mixed correctly, it's not a bad album. Jason Newsted is not a bad bass player, 10 times braver than me for stepping into Cliff Burton's boots. Released the 3rd album, Volume 3 The Subliminal Verses in 2004. Not only had they matured as people, but their audience had matured. Point they were still using the gimmicks, but in the opposite way. The video for the song Before I Forget features the band without their masks, but it doesn't clearly show any of their faces. It's still using it as a marketing tool. They used the mask to draw people in. Now they're using the lack of a mask to keep people there. This didn't count with Corey Taylor and Jim Root because they played in Stone Sour without masks. Sid Wilson did DJ stuff as DJ Starscream, again not wearing a mask. In 2008 the band released the album All Hope Is Gone, which completely totally moved away from all the nu metal style of music and stuck more of a groove metal sort of feel. 2014 saw the release of the album 5 The Grey Chapters, named after the bassist Paul Gray, and was the first album to not feature the drummer Joey Jordison after he was dismissed from the band in 2013. 2019 saw the release of We Are Not Your Kind, which was the first album not to feature percussionist Chris Fiend, who was dismissed from the band after he sued them for unpaid royalties. They've now sort of become elders within the scene. They've become these critical darlings, you know, they're all like nearly 50-year-old dads. Position in the scene compared to where they started is very similar to how I feel. I get into music when I was 14, 15, and I spent a lot of time sort of looking for my place. Growing older and now I'm in my mid-30s, I've realised that you don't need to find your place. You already have your place. Yeah, it's tough, don't get me wrong. If there's any young people out there watching who might be struggling with this kind of stuff, if it's really getting to you, the first thing you need to do is you need to talk to somebody about it. I know you probably hear this a lot, but there really are people out there who can help if you're struggling. friends, family, professionals, whoever it might be, not to anybody, then no one's going to know there's a problem, so no one can help you. I know it's easy for me to sit here on YouTube saying this sort of thing, but the top and bottom of it is I've been there, and it's not nice, and it can get better. You don't have to slug through life like this. I'm more inclusive now, but when I was young, it was a genuine, real thing. You know, if you were into metal music, you wore a certain type of clothes. There was real hatred and the fear of violence over it. I was young in 2017, unfortunately, in my home county of Lancashire, here in the United Kingdom. There was a young girl called Sophie Lancaster who was unfortunately beaten to death by a group of 5 guys, basically because of the clothes she was wearing. Imagine that, an entire human life totally snuffed out simply based on the clothes that you're wearing. It's absolutely insane. Like I said, the world is far more inclusive these days, but if you're getting hurt because of the music that you like or the clothes that you wear, don't let them stop you. That's exactly what they want. They'll take our life and they'll take our soul, but they will never take our rock and roll. Slipknot have now come full circle and they are the critical darlings within the scene. One of the other things that got my attention recently is Corey Taylor is having a beef with Machine Gun Kelly, of all people. I don't really know the ins and outs of the beef. The top and bottom is Machine Gun Kelly seems like the sort of person who doesn't care who he goes after. Like, all attention's good attention. A few years ago when he did the Rap Devil thing going after Eminem, and now he's going after Corey Taylor. I understand that Machine Gun Kelly has currently changed his music up a little bit and he's not a rapper. He now does sort of pop punk sort of music, which means that for better or for worse he's now involved within our scene. This is not really the sort of stuff that I like talking about, but if you guys want a video on Corey Taylor versus Machine Gun Kelly, I will happily make it because I'm quickly running out of ideas for content. I suppose the top and bottom is Machine Gun Kelly should know better than to start a beef with Corey Taylor, and Corey Taylor should know better than to take on a beef with Machine Gun Kelly. Why should the wolves be concerned with the opinions of the sheep? It's pretty much all I've got to say for this video. Slipknot will be releasing new music later on this year, around April hopefully, which I am really excited for. If the interest is there, I'll do a review on the album, and like the Alexis on Fire video. By the way, thank you for all the views, it means the absolute world to me. I will do a review and a giveaway of the album. With all that said, sorry there's not been a lot of content out recently, but I've got a full-time job, I've got a girlfriend, I've got a lot of stuff going on outside of this, and I really do wish I had more time to make content. Nothing more to be said really. You know what to do, guys. Like, subscribe, and listen to heavy metal.